Hi guys, this is Joel with Guitars United here at the Anaheim Winter NAMM 2015, and I'm lucky enough to sit here with Tom. Me and Tom and my wife and my photographer Peter here, also a badass guitar instructor, by the way.
Well, great.
We actually met at the airport.
Yes, we
and
did.
He overheard us. He was snooping on us. He heard us talk about NAMM show.
Yeah, right.
And so anyways, he just started coming up with some really cool stuff that we'd never heard of. And gosh, thank you so much for spending some time with us, Tom.
Well, thank you very much.
What are we here for?
I'm really here for that guitar right there. That's the guitar, okay? I worked with Les for 45 years, and I was his luthier, sound engineer, co-producer, also did a lot of inventions with him, and just was a very good friend. He was like my second father. I worked 27 years on Broadway with him, and I did the production on the Iridium, and also even worked on a couple of videos that he did too, as well as the Les Paul's video, which was called, oh my God, I forgot the name of it now. But anyway, it was done in 1988. That was a great video. The man had changed the music. That's what it was.
Man had changed music.
The man had changed
That's
music.
a fact.
Yes, true. And of course, a later video too, Chasing Sound, which was the big one. That was great.
You know what I've always heard, Tom, was good people always carry smarter people around them.
That's correct.
And
oh boy.
So, anyways,
well, you're flattering me.
That's true, though. That's true.
Well, thank you very
much.
So,
how did Les and you guys become friends?
It's a very interesting story. I'll make it pretty quick. Generally speaking, I went to see where Les lived when I was about 18 years old. I was inspired by him so much that I was driven to find out where he lived. And I won't tell you exactly how I found the address, but I did. Okay, and then we get to the area where he lives in Mahwah, New Jersey, on Deer Haven Road, 78 Deer Haven Road. And one thing leads to another, and I tell my friend who was driving, I didn't have a license at the time. I was 17 and a half. And so we go to where the house would be, but there was a gate. You couldn't get in. So one thing led to another, and I said, look, there's another road that goes up behind that area, a little small mountain, the Ramapo Mountains. Up there was a Boy Scout camp. So we're up there, and I got binoculars. Kind of fits Tom, right? Peeping Tom. One thing leads to another, and I said, if a car pulls up behind, there was only 7 houses there. If a car pulls up with a guitar player getting a guitar out of a car, we know we got the right house. Now, in 1960, there weren't too many guitar players. So that was the reasoning behind it. Now, one thing leads to another, and I say, I just saw this car pull up behind that house, and he pulled a guitar case out of that car. Let's go down there, see if that gate is open, and we're going to go try to see where that house is. So we do. The gate was open. I decide to tell my friend, I said, I'll remember what the house looks like because of the Listerine commercials. They always showed the house, the front of the house. So I got it in my head. If we see that house, we're pulling in the driveway. We pull in the driveway. One thing leads to another. My friend is scared stiff. I said, I'm going to go knock on the door. He said, are you crazy? I said, no. I go knock on the door. No one comes. I knock on it again. Door opens up. There's a gentleman standing there with a hammer in his hand, penny loafers, a ripped T-shirt, rolled up, actually jeans also. And he says, can I help you? I said, yeah, I'm a friend of Les Paul's. He says, really? He says, what do you do? I said, I'm a guitar player, of course. He said, you do? You play guitar? I said, yeah. He said, well, what's your name? I said, it's Tom Doyle. I said, but Les knows who I am because I stop by here every month when I'm traveling. He said, he does? I said, yeah. You do, I should say. I said, yes, I do stop here. He would know who I am. So he said, well, I'll tell him. Closes the door. We get in the car. I go back home. I said, too bad, Richard, my friend, he wasn't there. It was just one of the workers there. 5 years forward, 1965, almost 66. Someone sends him a telegram about my sister and I, who were doing a Les Paul and Mary Ford tribute. With multiple tracking, Ampex tape recorders, we were doing all that stuff. And he gets...
Very innovative back then.
Yes, it was. And he gets a telegram from this woman who loved us and explained that you got to come and see these kids. Lo and behold, my sister are doing Bye Bye Blues, 8 tracks behind us and 2 more tracks on top of it. We're playing live. My sister played rhythm guitar, I played lead, and she sang great, all the parts. Get done with the song, this man way over in the corner is clapping like this. Gets up and starts walking towards us. Hi, I'm Les Paul. The same guy I met at the door of the house. He said, you guys are great. He says, how did you get that sound? I said, well, I'm tri-amping. I've got woofers, horns, and tweeters. And I'm running that through all those amplifiers to make that sound as crystal clear as I can make it. He said, well, that's great. I said, I want you to come to the house tomorrow. Into your house tomorrow? Yeah, I want you up there. Don't come before 3 o'clock, because that's when I get up, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we go up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and here I am with my sister and I, Susan, her name was. It still is. And he's showing me everything, how he produces records, how he records his guitar. Play my guitar. Whew. This one was there too. And I says, play it. I said, okay. And he says to me, he says, well, I got to take you downstairs in the cellar. I want to show you what's, I retired in '65 when Mary left me. Mary Ford had Les had a divorce. He said, but I want to show you some guitars downstairs under the kitchen in the cellar. So we go downstairs, and there's water dripping. All kinds of problems with pipes, and these guitars are being destroyed by this water.
Les Paul's house.
You're right. And he says to me, well, you mean, I said, Les, you can't have these great historic guitars. All right, you take that one home, fix it up. I want to see what you can do.
Huh.
Now, you can imagine, this is probably within a week or two of the time I first met him. Take it home, see what you can do, clean them up, make them play again. Les, are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious.
He just trusted you.
And that was the beginning of working with him for those 45 years. And that was some of what I did, but that was the good part of how it started.
That's so cool, so cool.
Any other questions that you...
Well, tell us about the Doyle coils.
Okay, Doyle coils, very good question. My partner, Max Stavern, and I collaborated on developing humbuckers that would be what Les would like. He never liked Gibson humbuckers because they were muddy on the bottom end. Muddy on the bass strings, okay? And he said, so Gibson would send a guitar over at the Iridium or Fat Tuesdays, and he'd try it out. We would record that guitar, then we'd record a guitar that he was using, and then we'd compare notes. And he said, well, it's not making it, right, Tom? I said, no way. So that went on for quite a few years, and right up to about 8 years before he passed away. So he was trying to develop a better humbucker. I knew that. I was helping him with that. And he said to me, he said, I got to give up on this thing. It's just never going to work. And he said, I'm beginning to get tired, Tom. He was about 93 now. And I said, okay, Les, I understand. It's a tough one to solve that problem. So when he did pass away, I had a lot of his notes and scribbles, and he would take, he didn't do this in a notebook where it would be like a real ledger. He'd take scrap paper and scribble on schematics and numbers and size wires and turns and all that stuff. So I got a lot of that stuff, and Max and I started deciphering by re-engineering what he was after, and then we worked for 3 years almost on developing the Doyle coils. And to clean up that bottom end, and we're getting rave reviews now because of the pickup sounding so wonderful for being a humbucker.
How can people find these pickups?
They can find them right on the internet at Doyle Coils. If you look up Doyle Coils, it's on the internet, and you can purchase them right there.
DoyleCoils.com?
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Are you still, I was reading, me and my cohorts here, were reading an article, and you were playing at the Iridium with Sandy?
Yes, my wife Sandy, when Les passed away, the trio was still there. That's with Lou Paulo, and we had Nicky Perrott playing bass, and we had John Coliani playing piano, and Lou Paulo playing guitar, and so they continued the trio playing there for a couple of years. And Lou asked me, come on up, and would you open up the show with and do some songs by Les and Mary as one guitar, one voice. And my wife and I would do that. People would be looking, my God, we feel like we're getting chills. It's just like Les and Mary when they were a duo. Because that sound I had. I developed my own guitars, my own pickups to create that sound.
Studied them so much.
Oh, so much. It was like wearing his sweaters, you know what I mean? It was just, I just knew what he was made of.
my mentor Carl, he was a big Les Paul and Mary Ford fan too.
Yeah, sure.
So, it was the 50s.
Oh yeah. Well, Les was the greatest of all time. You have to realize, I saw him play when I was 7 years old. By 9, I began to understand what was going on by listening to his jukebox records, and so from that point on, I was hooked. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, and so that sound was what I wanted to get. And everybody wanted to get the Les Paul sound. It wasn't until rock and roll came in where it changed the world, you know. And people like Bing Crosby and Les Paul and Mary Ford and many others, Patti Page, they were out because the new world was developing their own sounds and trying to create what Les said to me. They're trying to do what I tried to do, but it's in a different world today.
Yeah. Hey, one last question. How can people research the story on this? What episode or what edition of the Guitar Player magazine was it?
It's the February issue, which is out right now.
Okay.
And it's the most wonderful article that I could have ever been a part of, because they interviewed me so distinctly, and I told them I would not do an article unless it was done correctly and not just fluff. This is the real thing. If you do that, I'm with you. If you don't, I'm not. And so between Max and I, we developed a rapport with Mike Melinda, who was the chief editor, and this went on, each word, each sentence, and everything we went over with him until it came and rang the way it should. And we told a lot of people about what Les did and how it came about with a tech who interviewed me also. And that was a great part of the article, where I give size wire that he used on the pickups, how many turns,
cool.
All this kind of stuff. Not in total depth, but at least you never heard this before.
Right.
And so people have been coming today just swamping me with, we never heard about this stuff. Thank you for that article. And I thank Mike Melinda and Max for doing a great job on this article.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Tom, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Joel.
It was good meeting you, sir.
Thank you, Joel.
Yes, sir.
So now you got a chance, right?
Yeah.
From standing in line.
Oh, gosh. I'm telling you what, man, as being a Luthier and him being a Luthier Les Paul, I don't even know what to say. I'm flabbergasted, no, seriously.
Well, thank you for interviewing me. I appreciate it very, very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Joel, again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.